Welcome to this explainer. Today, we're taking a literal dive into the biological engine room of your body's absolute largest organ. We're totally bypassing that surface-level view to explore the incredible, microscopic machinery that keeps this sprawling system functioning around the clock.
Okay, let's kick things off with a pretty staggering number. Your skin makes up a massive 16% of your total body weight. Think about that. And if you were to somehow lay it all out, it would cover a surface area of about 1.8 square meters. So yeah, it's definitely not just some passive wrapper. It's a super dynamic organ working relentlessly to keep you alive and kicking.
Now you might hear the term integumentary system, and really it's so much more than just a simple covering. It's actually a highly integrated, complex network spanning your skin, your hair, your nails, and all those vital glands. Whether we're talking about the sweat glands regulating your core temperature or the sebaceous oil glands maintaining your natural barriers, it all operates together in just perfect harmony.
To guide our journey inward, we're actually going to use some meticulously structured source notes. Kind of treat them like our biological blueprints. We're going to dig down, literally, layer by layer, starting from the very surface that faces the outside world all the way down to your muscle.
So here's our map for today. First, we'll meet your largest organ. Then we hit the epidermis, your outer shield. After that, we'll descend through the 5 microlayers. Next is the dermis, your sensory center. And finally, the hypodermis, the foundation.
All right, section 1. Meet your largest organ, the overarching structure of skin.
You know, the thickness of your skin dramatically varies depending on its function and the environment it has to deal with. Take your eyelid, for example. Flexibility and lightness are absolutely paramount there, so the skin is a super delicate ½ millimeter thick. But on the sole of your foot, that takes a literal pounding every single day, so it transforms into a heavy-duty 4 millimeters. That is an 8-fold difference in thickness, just to adapt to your body's specific needs.
Moving on to section 2, the epidermis, outer shield. This is your front line of defense.
So this outermost barrier is incredibly tough. It's made up of what's called stratified squamous epithelial tissue. But the crazy part is, it's entirely avascular, meaning no blood vessels whatsoever. It ranges from about 0.5 to 1.5 millimeters thick generally, and it gets all its nutrients from the layers down below. Actually, this is exactly why a superficial paper cut really hurts but doesn't actually bleed. Makes sense, right?
Section 3. The 5 microlayers. Let's descend through the epidermis.
Okay, let's do a quick structural breakdown of those 5 epidermic layers, going from top to bottom. The major portion of this entire shield is just packed with cells called keratinocytes. These guys synthesize a really tough protective protein called keratin. Let's look at what each specific sublayer actually does, starting from the outside and working our way in.
Starting at the very top, we have the stratum corneum. Now, you might think of this as just a boring wall of dead skin cells, but honestly, it's practically a selective gateway. According to our source notes, this uppermost layer is heavily involved in the transdermal penetration of drugs. Literally, this is the exact biological mechanism that allows things like medical patches to successfully deliver drugs right through your skin and into your bloodstream. How cool is that? Now, what's uniquely fascinating about the next layer down, which is the stratum lucidum, is its exclusivity. You definitely won't find it everywhere on your body. It exists solely to reinforce the high-friction areas of your thick skin. So we're talking specifically about the palms of your hands and the soles of your feet. It's kind of like nature's built-in callus.
As we push a bit deeper, we hit 2 middle layers. First, the stratum granulosum. This one features cells that literally have a grainy, granular appearance in their cytoplasm. And then, right beneath that is the stratum spinosum. This layer is absolutely critical because it houses special Langerhans cells. You can think of Langerhans cells as your skin's internal security system. They literally just sit there, waiting to trigger an immunological response if any foreign invaders manage to breach those outer walls.
Hitting the absolute deepest epidermic floor, we arrive at the stratum basal. And wow, this is a very busy place. Down here, we find the melanin-producing cells, the melanocytes, which dictate your unique skin color. And incredibly, as our notes highlight, this specific deep layer is also completely responsible for the complex ridges that generate your one-of-a-kind fingerprints. So your literal identity is formed at the very basement of your epidermis.
But hey, before we leave the outer shield entirely, we have to pass through a literal biological bridge. It's called the dermo-epidermal junction. People often just refer to it as the basement membrane. Basically, this crucial boundary securely links that outer epidermal shield we just explored directly to the buzzing engine room that lies beneath it.
Which brings us to Section 4, the dermis, sensory center. This is the plumbing and the wiring.
So, unlike the totally bloodless shield right above it, the dermis is just alive with action. Lying right below the epidermis, it's made up of a hard, supportive cellular matrix of connective tissue. Really, this is the bustling hub where you're going to find the blood vessels feeding the skin, the deep roots of your hair follicles, and of course, all those intricate nerve endings that allow you to literally interact with and feel the entire world around you.
Now, if we contrast the two distinct sublayers of the dermis, we first have the upper, thin papillary layer. That one is made of loose connective tissue. You can think of it as your sensory array. It's what lets you feel the comforting heat of a fresh cup of coffee or, the sharp sting of pain. Then, beneath that, we have the thicker, dense connective tissue of the reticular layer. This one acts as the heavy-duty anchor, housing your sweat glands, hair follicles, and a super-rich network of blood vessels.
And finally, we arrive at Section 5, the hypodermis, the foundation, anchoring everything to the muscle.
While it's sometimes not even considered a true part of the skin itself by some definitions, this foundation layer is absolutely indispensable. It is the ultimate biological glue. The hypodermis is completely responsible for making sure everything we just talked about, the protective shields, the sensory nerves, all those hair follicles, stays firmly attached to your underlying muscles. Without it, our skin would literally just slide right off.
Structurally, the hypodermis accomplishes this massive anchoring job by using loose connective tissue along with a really vital insulating padding of fat cells. Our source notes call these adipocytes or adipocytes. This adipose tissue doesn't just anchor the skin. It provides essential cushioning and crucial temperature regulation for your entire body. It's practically your body's built-in bubble wrap.
So, having traveled all the way from the protective surface layer deep down to those foundational fat cells, we really have to wonder, if this is just the mechanical structure, how does this vast organ communicate with our brain, our immune system, and the trillions, yes, trillions of microbes living on its surface right this very second? Your skin is just an absolute marvel of biological engineering, silently protecting you every single second of the day. Thanks so much for joining me on this deep dive explainer, and as always, keep questioning the incredible world hiding in plain sight.